This video is going to show you my final solo GM Conquest Whisper on a Titan. I've done this on Warlock and Hunter. On this run we're going to dial it in, get A grade, plus get some loot. I'll show you what I got from the run. Let's just go over the basics like I have in the other videos. So we've got Fire Team Power Boost and time bonus, no radar, limited revive, equipment locked, avant-garde, glass cannon, Scourge 3, Galvanized 2, Champions are Overload and Unstops, Hot Step, Take an Epitaph, and finally Banes are Screebs and Avalanches. If you haven't seen my other two previous runs on this mission, the important notes are Screebs hit hard, you need to use Edge of Fate weapons and armor, and Glass Cannon is on the entire time, but it's not too much of a problem providing you've got a somewhat decent build. So for the Titan run, I am just going basic with it because I haven't got enough armor sets to start exploring onto other things. So I'm just going to run my tried, true and tested specialist armor build stat on Crest of Avalur by every set piece is specialist. Which specialist tier set is class and weapon stat distributions. Look, 94, 92, 87, 91, 92. Not perfect armor, but decent enough for what we want to do with this. High class, high weapons. With moderate health. So that's one thing to note. You'll get 2 spikes in the 2 stats that you got for the armor set. And the third stat will be like the tertiary stat. That could be randomized on one of the others. The key note is try and get that to be health. Because look, my helmet's got health, minor health. My gauntlets has got minor health. My crest hasn't. My boots has got minor health. And this has got majorly a good amount of health. That results in you getting to tier 6 to 8 a health stat. Which is the sweet spot for solo builds at least. You don't want to be rocking high health stat builds. You just want tier 6 to 8 and then 2 stat choices of what you're going with. So say you are going with Wishful Ignorance, well then you're going to want melee stat. And that's probably what I'm going to farm next is a melee stat build for Wishful Ignorance because I haven't got it to use it. And I may farm a bit of a Solar Titan super stat build to see what that's like as well. Because Solar Titan's actually rather good again. And that's what I'm going to do. But for now, this is the only set that I own that's decent stats. So I have to go with it. And that's just how it's going to be. Until I get more stats for all the armor set archetypes. Okay, so that's the armor stats explained. Weapons is the same as the Hunter run. Retrograde, the best special weapon in the game. Ahab Char, Burning Ambition is meta now. Especially with the artifact and everything, it synergizes very well with Bolt Charge Titan because you're having two different you're having more elements, which means your elemental honing will be buffed. Aurora Dawn will provide you with more mint retrograde ammo. So if you do struggle with ammo generation in Edge of Fate, pop on a Sharp Harvest Sword and those problems will be eliminated somewhat. Unreal. We have got Overload Champions to consider, which I have got Cold Steel on, and it's Overload Auto Rifle, so this will stun Overlords. And it will stun Unstoppable Champions because of Burning Ambition. So it will stun 2 different types, and this is for DPS. And like I say, we're on Bolt Charge Titan. It really is just the basics. Fists of Havoc, don't need T-Crash. Rally Barricade, Seismic Strike, Pulse Grenade, Storm's Keep, Knockout, Fragments of Spark of Resistance, Shock, Focus, Frequency. Artifact mods, important ones. Radiant Shrapnel, Shield Crush. Elemental Daze is bugged and doing bug damage. Use it. We got Frost Renewal, one with Frost. This will give us Frost Armor when we use the Stasis Sword. I've got a discount for Scav mods. I've got Fever and Chill on. That needs to go on. Gives you uptime on Radiant. What else? Overload Auto needs to go on. And that's really, honestly, everything that you need to know about it. So I've already provided you with very in-depth commentary on the Whisper, and there's nothing much else I can add about this. So I'm not going to provide commentary on this run because I've already just done 2 in-depth Titan and Hunter, Warlock and Hunter runs with full commentary going through every single thing. And I need to move on and start farming some other armor as, you know, I'm starting to slow down my grind a little bit because I'm messing around with videos too much. So I'm not doing commentary on this. I've already showed you I've already told you over and over with the whisper what you should do. I mean, this is just going to get the cleared, isn't it? But I will say I got it. This is what we're going to. I went for A grade. You need to get A grade on this mission. It does say B plus here, but you will get A grade providing you kill enough enemies, and you'll get tier 5 loot as a result of it, or a higher chance. This is what I got. I got a tier 5 lionfish, which is not a god roll, but it's all right. What else you got? I got tier 5 lionfish. I got a tier 5 gauntlets, Bushido gauntlets that are specialist as well. Oh damn, I didn't realize that was specialist tier. And we got a tier 5 brawler chest plate. So you do get tier 5 loot for this, so bear that in mind. But again, I think the grading impacts it. Just make sure that you get 10,000 score points. At the bottom right hand corner of the screen, you'll see it. Just make sure you're killing enough enemies, and you should get it. Nothing much else I can add to it. I can't repeat this mission now. It is now done, trial and tested. The final Grandmaster is Conquest 12, but Conquest Delve, but it requires 410 in power, and I'm only 404 at max, maybe nearly 405 now. So I'm locked out of this until I get to 410, which is actually a bit of a grind. It is, as prime engrams seem to be dropping in some sort of odd fashion, and I don't really understand why that is, but you were locked out of it until to 410. What I would say is most people don't need to grind to 450, because in Ash and Iron, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to level up via the portal to 450 and beyond quicker anyways. So the grind between 400 to 450 is not needed, but right now what is needed is 410 power. So what I would recommend to people is get to 410 power before September, and then you're alright. At that point, just start farming armor stats. It is an insane grind from 400 to 450 is an insane grind. So what you should be more concerned with is farming each archetype of stat up. What I mean by this is I'm going to start farming a Paragon armor set up now. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do on Titan when I am. So I'm going to focus for that. I've just finished Specialist Armor. I'm happy enough with my Specialist Armor set. So I'll swap to Paragon. I'll farm a full Paragon set that's built around melee build. Then I'll go to Brawler. Then I'll go to Bulwark. You want a 5 armor piece set of 66 to 70 stat at least in each slot of every single archetype of armor. If you do that, it will allow you to build every stat that you can possible in the game for all your builds, and that's the goal. That's my now newly formed goal, because there's a hell of a lot of builds in the game I'm not allowed to run yet, and I'm locked out of them until I farm all these archetypes. So when you farm a portal, get a full set that you're happy with the Paragon, then move to Brawler, then move on to Grenadier, and then move across all of them. And then after all of that grind, you're then good to start actually build crafting properly. That's my advice on it. This was the Solar Gem for Conquest, my final run of it, until Bungie addresses the fact that it's only seasonal based, but that was the build information. On with the run.